Hello, algebra students. We're going to do some two-step equations in this video. Depending on the class you might be taking with me, you might not actually receive this quiz, but if you're accessing this through Canvas, I'll make sure that there's a copy of the quiz on Canvas. So here we are doing what are typically called two-step equations. And we know that if I just look at the first example here, remember you can ignore the other side. The variable is not on the right side, so there's two numbers to get rid of, and so it'll be one step for each number, canceling each number there. So just some tips here before we start. When we get to more complicated equations, sometimes we're going to be able to simplify. Sometimes if I change, let's see, number 2, for example, if I change that and I say, hey, that was supposed to be 22k minus 8k equals 54. Then you go, oh, you can simplify. 22 koalas, take away 8 koalas, we can simplify that. But in this case, we're not going to be able to simplify, and I'll try to double check that every time. So my recommendation is to first cancel the addition or the subtraction, and then we'll cancel the multiplication and division second. So here we go on number 1. So again, don't worry about the right side with the -2. I've got 14 plus x over 3. I'm going to try to cancel the 14 first. And since it's a positive 14, if I subtract 14, that'll cancel. I balance my equation. And I am left with positive x over 3. That's a positive there. So if it was minus x over 3, I'd keep the negative. But positive x over 3, I don't have to worry about that. And equals on the right side, if you calculate that, you get negative 16. Okay. So I could have, well, I'll just keep going for now. But so now I'm going to cancel the division. So dividing by 3, I'm going to cancel that by multiplying by 3 and then balance my equation. And we'll get here x equals negative 48. Of course, there's the all-important check step. So if I take the original equation, 14 plus x over 3, and we're supposed to get -2. That's what the original equation says. Now I have a value for x that I think is correct. So if I guess I can keep the rest of this. If we substitute that negative 48 in there, will we get a true equation? So I'm going to put in the negative 48 for x. Negative 48, that's kind of tough sometimes to write. Whoops, we're losing some things. 48, and then that's supposed to equal there. So is this true? This is checking. So I can do this on my calculator. The left side's got some operations here. We've got addition and division. If we're following the order of operations, we're supposed to divide first. So grab your calculator if you need it. Negative 48 divided by 3 is a negative 16. Is 14 plus negative 16 equal to 2? You might already be convinced of that. I just like to write it down and be like, yep, let's finish with the left side. We get -2 on the left. We get -2 on the right. That's good. That's supposed to happen. So going back here, my answer, my solution is x equals negative 48. At the end of this video, I'll show you if you wanted to. Some students are like, can't we cancel the 3 first? And I canceled the 14 first. Couldn't we have canceled the 3 first? You can, is just, you got to be really careful that you do it correctly. So skip to the end of the video if you want to see that. But otherwise, we'll keep going here. So number 2, again, you can separate left side and right side. Don't worry about 54. I'm going to cancel the addition or subtraction first. This might be helpful if you want to chop slash this. Say this is 22 plus negative 8k. The reason I chop slash it, or at least in my head I think about it as chop slash, is because I'm not going to add to cancel the 22. The 22 is positive. I have $22 and I owe 8 koalas or whatever. So I'm going to subtract 22, in fact. I have 22 of something. Let's take it away. So no more 22 there. Balance your equation. So we'll be left with here, we're going to owe 8 koalas, negative 8k. Grab your calculator if you need. I believe that one is 32. And now remember, this is a tricky one at this point. I don't add 8 because it's negative 8 times k. I don't divide by positive 8. I divide by negative 8. Divide by the exact same number that you see there. So here this will come out to, I believe that's a negative 4. But we'll do the check step on this one here real quick. So let's check that. So if we take our original equation, 22 minus, it was minus 8k equals 54. And again, you could chop slash that if you want to, but we'd have 22 minus 8, and then times our value is supposed to equal a positive 54. So we'll fill that in here. Times a negative 4. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to chop slash that. Plus a negative 8. So again, I'm doing the check step. I'm substituting my value. Now that I have a value for k, now I can substitute, I can trade, I can switch, I can replace in the original equation, take out k, put in my value, which is negative 4, and now I just do the operations. So no operations on the right, only on the left. Addition or subtraction goes after multiplication. So the 22 plus, let's see, negative 8 times negative 4 is a positive 32. And does that equal 54? Forgot to put the question mark on that one. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that works. Again, some people would stop there. I'm going to write 54 equals 54 because that is true. So I like this answer. Okay. All right. So we'll keep practicing here. Let's see here. So again, yeah, I just want to point out we cannot simplify these equations on this paper. We'll see equations eventually where it's like, yeah, you can do some simplifying. You can do some cleaning up before you start canceling. But my suggestion is to cancel the addition or the subtraction first. All right, looking at number 3 now. Negative 28 equals negative 22 plus v over 9. So I'm not worried about the negative 28. Again, I'm going to try to cancel the addition or subtraction first. And this is where, again, you might say we're adding. So should we cancel with subtraction? Well, you could, but I would subtract a negative 22. I would take away the negative 22. And we know that subtracting a negative 22 is the same as adding a positive 22. So I'm just going to add 22. Because if I owe $22, but then you give me $22, that'll cancel out. I'm down to 0. I still got my plus v over 9, but that part is 0. If you wanted to subtract a negative 22, it's mathematically the same. Okay. So we would get here on the right side, again, this is a positive v over 9, just to make sure. And on the left side, that's going to be a negative 6. Now I'm going to cancel my division. I don't want to divide by 9, so if I multiply by 9, that cancels. Same step on the other side, and I'm pretty sure that's a negative 54 on the left. We got v on the right. And don't forget to do the check step. I'm going to skip that just for time, but check in that equation, put that negative 54. I'll just write out this part. Negative 28 should equal negative 22 plus our value for v, negative 54 over 9. So just make sure that all comes out to negative 28. Okay? You can use your calculator, but you should be doing the check step. All right, continuing on here with number 4. Again, this doesn't simplify. It's 12 raspberries and $9. It's not 21 raspberries, it's not $21. So I can't simplify, but just check for that. I like to cancel the addition or subtraction first. So if you take away 9, that'll cancel there. We'll be left with, that'd be 12r will equal, that's going to be 36. And I don't want 12 raspberries. Let's split those 12 raspberries into 12 groups. And then r will equal, that'll be 3. So again, doing the check step, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but 12 times r, I think, is 3. Plus 9, that should give us 45. You should be doing the check step. Does that all give you 45? Okay, but that's my answer on number 4. Rolling right along here. We'll switch up to purple. Number 5. Again, this side on the right does not simplify. It's not negative 23x because that's negative 23 times x. It's not positive 23x, because that's positive 23 times x. This is negative 23 minus x. Couple things I'm going to do here is I'm going to sneak in a 1. I'll probably rewrite this. I'm going to sneak in a 1, and I'm going to chop slash this. So I'm going to say this is 15 equals negative 23, and I'll do this kind of like this. So I'm going to sneak in the 1, and then I'm going to chop slash and say that is, instead of minus 1x, plus negative 1x. So we've talked about in class, you know yourself whether or not you need to do that. Some of us don't need to do that, but it can be helpful there. So don't worry about, whoops, I got a little straight mark there. Don't worry about the multiplication or division yet. Worry about the addition or subtraction. We've got addition with a negative 23. Again, we could subtract negative 23, but that's the same as adding positive 23. So I'm just going to add 23. I owe $23 and I owe a xylophone. Well, let's give you $23 and you can pay that debt off. Give the other side $23 to balance. We will have negative 1x on the right. And then that's going to be 38 on the left. And then that's multiplication by negative 1, so we can divide by negative 1 to cancel that. Divide by negative 1 to cancel that. Getting a little low on space here, but we can scoot it over to the side. 38 divided by negative 1 is going to be a negative 38. And that's what we'll get for x. This one I am going to do the check step just because it's a common mistake, but a lot of students will miss that. You know, even if they add 23, they'll miss that it's negative x or negative 1x and think that, oh, I added 23, I canceled, I'm done. But this is the importance of the check step. So I've been skipping the check step on the last few, but we'll do it here. So if we check this, 15 equaling, we got negative 23. We have subtraction as part of the equation, and then my value for x is a negative 38. So we've talked about it. That's why I like using the parentheses when I substitute. But look at this now. Minus a negative, that's chop chop. That's the same thing as plus a positive 38. And if you calculate that out, it does come out to be a 15. So our equation says 15 equals 15, which is good. So this answer, negative 38, is a good value for x. But again, if you got a positive 38x, if this was positive instead of negative, it'd be negative 23 minus 38. That's not positive 15. Okay, so got to be careful with those negatives. All right, let's keep going here. 26 equals 14 minus m over 3. No simplifying. I can't do any simplifying, but I can start canceling. Here, I'm going to do something a little sneaky on this one. I'm going to chop slash this, but I'm going to slash the 3. Okay, so I'm going to say it, and I think during the check step, I think maybe we'll see this here. So I'm going to say we're going to add m divided by a negative 3. And see if I can give you a good explanation for that here in a moment. But let's see here. So again, I recommend canceling addition or subtraction first. We have $14. Let's take those away. No more money, no more dollars, whatever. Balance your equation. I'll be left with m over negative 3 on the right. And on the left side, that's going to give me 12. So if I didn't confuse you on doing the chop slash and saying, let's say it's plus m over negative 3, from here, hopefully you're like, yeah, I can do the rest of it here. We're dividing by negative 3. Let's multiply by negative 3 to cancel that, and then balance our equation. Multiply that by negative 3 also, and so this will give us a negative 36, I believe, equals m. This one I'll say a little bit more about. I don't think I'll show the check step, but you should be doing the check step. If you wanted to just say that we're going to leave the subtraction, if you want to do that. This is okay. You're still going to subtract 14 as a first step, or that's what I would do. I'm not going to change that to adding 14. We'd still get positive 12 on the right. But then I would say you're left with a negative m over 3. And so what some students do now is they'll say, all right, so let's multiply by 3 to cancel division by 3. But then they still have the negative, which is okay still. They'll say 36 equals negative m, and from there they might sneak in the 1 and say that's negative 1m, and then say, okay, let's divide by negative 1. But lo and behold, you get the same result. You get a negative 36. So different ways to handle that one. I would probably say it's plus m over negative 3. All right, we've got a few more on this quiz to do. All right, let's see. Number 7, negative d over 4 plus 7 equals 31. So right away, kind of like we did on number 6, I'm gonna sneak that negative to the denominator and say it's d over a negative 4. Not that you have to, but can't simplify on the left side, so I'm going to cancel the addition or subtraction. We've got $7. Let's take that away. And then we'll be left with d over negative 4 equals, that's 24. We're dividing by negative 4, so if we multiply by negative 4, that'll cancel. Multiply here by negative 4. And I believe that is negative 96. Let me double check on my calculator. Yeah, that'll be a negative 96. I think I'll start the check step here, but I'm not going to do the whole thing. So just remember your original equation. Probably a good idea to go back to where the original was just a negative on the side of the fraction. So a negative on the side of the fraction, and then we're putting in a negative 96 for our value for d, plus 7. Does that equal 31? And the negative, it's kind of like a chop right there. It becomes positive. I would say it's not my version of chop, but some students have done that. I would say it's a negative times a negative, which is a positive. So it becomes positive 96 over 4 plus 7. Does that equal 31? And you can finish that up and determine that, yes, this does give you 31 equals 31. All right, 3 more problems here. Let's go. Number 8, 4y plus 19 equals negative 21. I can't simplify on the left side. It's 4 yo-yos and $19, but I can take away the $19, balance that equation. We'll get 4y equals, it's going to be negative 40, and then 4 times y, let's divide by 4. That'll be positive 1y, or just y, and that's going to give us negative 10. Don't forget to do the check step. Number 9, 8 minus a. Again, I'm gonna sneak in a 1, and then I'm gonna chop slash it, similar to a previous problem we did. So instead of just 8 minus a, at least I'm gonna think 8 plus negative 1a. I'll subtract the 8 to cancel that, balance my equation. I've got negative 1a equals, that's going to be negative 3, and then I divide by negative 1, and I get positive 1a equals, turns out to be a positive 3. This one's actually pretty easy to check. I'll do that one real quick. Remember, it was 8 minus a, so 8 minus 3, does that equal 5? I go, yeah, 8 minus 3 is 5, so 5 equals 5 is what the equation says. One more, and then if we have time, I'll show you if you wanted to cancel your multiplication and division first, you could, but I don't recommend it. But let's finish the last one here. So checking out this equation, again, the right side does not simplify. And I'm going to cancel the addition or subtraction first. I owe $13, so let's give $13 so you can pay that debt. Balance the equation. We get a positive w over 2 on the right, and on the left we get, that'd be a positive 8. Cancel the division by 2 by multiplying by 2. Whoops, because that'll cancel, and then balance my equation, multiply by 2 there, and we get 16 equals w, and don't forget to check. So I hope that was helpful. I'm going to go back up to, I think, the first couple equations, and I'm going to show you if you wanted to, you could cancel. We said, in these equations, you can't simplify. Like number 2, it's not 22k minus 8k. where I could be like, oh, that 22k minus 8k is 14k. It's just 22 minus 8k. It doesn't simplify. So again, my suggestion is to cancel your addition or subtraction first. But what if we wanted to cancel the multiplication or division first? So I'm gonna here, I'll pause real quick while I erase this all. Okay, so that's all erased. So yeah, what if we go back and say, well, Kevin, you recommend we cancel the addition or subtraction first, but we don't have to follow your recommendation. What if we cancel the multiplication or division first? So let me show you what it looks like. We'll do number 1 here. So the trick is that, you know, when I add, subtract, whatever I do it to the entire left side of the equation. I do it to the entire right side of the equation. Looking at number 3 down here, when I added 22, I added it to the entire right side, but because addition and subtraction, you can only combine like terms, adding 22 does not affect v over 9. But if you come back to number 1 and you say, well, hey, if I want to cancel that division first, okay, let's multiply by 3. But here's the trick. You have to multiply the entire side by 3, which means you have to distribute the 3. So when you have to do 3 times 14 and then 3 times x over 3. So 3 times x over 3, that's going to give you your cancellation. But the trick is that the 14 doesn't just stick around. The 14 actually becomes a 42 because you had to multiply that by 3. And then you'd have plus x, and then over on the other side you'd get a negative 6. Yeah, that's the trick there. A lot of students will miss. They'll miss this part. And I go, that's why I don't recommend canceling multiplication and division first, because you're probably going to forget that. But if you do the check step, guess what? If you do the check step, you should discover that you have a mistake somewhere. Okay. This is going to lead us to, was it negative 48 on the first one? I think that was our answer. If you subtract 42 now, you're going to get negative 6 minus 42. That's going to give you x equals negative 48. So we get the same answer. It's just that it's tricky to do that. Okay. You got to multiply everything by 3, not just x over 3, not just the negative 2. The 14 also gets multiplied by 3. Number 2, we already solved, and I don't remember what we got. Was it negative 4? But if you wanted to cancel the division first, you can, the multiplication first. Again, I would still chop slash this, but you can divide by negative 8. But here's the thing. You have to divide the entire left side, not just negative 8k. You have to divide the entire left side by negative 8. And when you do that, just like the multiplication distributes, the division also distributes. So this, you would have 22 divided by negative 8 plus the negative 8k divided by negative 8. And that's where you're going to get the cancellation. And then 54 divided by negative 8. I don't think that works out. I think you get a decimal, but it's not a bad decimal. Negative 6.75 exactly. But yeah, again, this is a lot of students will miss this part. They don't realize, or they forget that they have to divide everything. When you do 22 divided by negative 8, that's negative 2.75. You'd have that plus k equals negative 6.75. And I mean, from here, you're okay, but it's just, again, a lot of students forget that everything gets divided. If I keep going, I would add the 2.75 to both sides. And hey, it turns out this over here is going to give me 4, a negative 4, which is what we got the first time. So again, you know, however you're doing it, you should be checking. So if you want to live dangerously, if you want to cancel that multiplication and division first, just my hint to you is be careful. Put it here. I don't recommend it, generally speaking. But if you're going to do that, be careful. And always, regardless of how you do it, check. I'm going to say one more thing. I'm going to jump down to, let's see if we can find a good example here. I don't know if we have a good one on this quiz, but let's try out, maybe number 4. I don't know if number 4 is going to work out here. Let me try something on the calculator real quick. It didn't work out. But let's just pretend, if you got time to stick around, let's pretend that we had an equation and it was something like 3v plus 7 equals I don't know, let's say 1. And if I wanted to cancel the multiplication first, that's not wrong. I just have to, we said be careful when you divide by 3, everything has to get divided by 3. The entire left side has to get divided by 3, not just 3v, but you would have it be 3v, we'll put a little fence there, 3v divided by 3, that's going to cancel, plus then 7 has to get divided by 3, and then the 1 has to get divided by 3. And what happens here, if you do this on your calculator, 7 divided by 3 is, in my opinion, not a nice decimal. It's 2.333333333. 1 divided by 3 is 0.33333, which is not nice to work with. You could work with the fractions if you know how to deal with the fractions, but this is where I would say I would definitely deal with that 7 before I try to cancel the 3. So if you're going to do this, again, be careful. So yeah, hope that helps.